Are our friends from the NGOs in the room? I guess so. The room looks fuller. That's good. Dear colleagues, we've come to the end of a roller coaster ride, I think. And my intention actually, a while back, thinking about this moment, was that I had Precious be standing on this table singing a song while I was emptying a bottle of champagne over her head. But we're not going to do that today, of course. Because we are not where we hoped we would be when we started this process. But we worked our butts off, to be honest. We worked so hard, all of us, you, us, the Secretariat. I think nobody can say that anybody has not been trying to get to the result that we hoped we would be. But I think also that we have come a long way. We started from scratch with an empty paper. We had nothing. I mean, if we see the colleagues of IHR, they had it easy. They had the IHR. They only had to improve it. But we had nothing. So we started with an empty paper. We collected your ideas. We worked on them relentlessly in different sessions. We put you to work in groups, subgroups, informal groups, drafting groups, whatever we could name it. And sometimes you were not happy with us, and sometimes we were not happy with you, and then sometimes we were laughing, and I think we were laughing a lot, actually. And in that regard, I look back on this with a lot of pleasure. I learned a lot from you all, from this process. And we're going to see where we're going to be in a couple of weeks when we had the WHA, and see what we will do to try to finish this process. But for now, the mandate of this team, this INB, is going to finish. And that's a very, well, strange moment for me, but I presume that's for a lot of you, because we all have mixed feelings probably on how to feel at this moment. And if I just think back on when we started, I think this room was empty. We were sitting here as chairs with nobody around, and because you all worked from home. And then we had sessions with mouth masks on. And then before we knew it, we were back to normal. And as we are sitting here today, you can hardly imagine that it's only 2 years, or just over 2 years ago, that we were sitting with mouth masks or keeping distance and everything. And that capability of humans to forget easily about difficult times, that's the thing that keeps us going, but also a little bit standing in the way of keeping the momentum and delivering on it, and just going on with all the other issues in our lives and the problems of the world. But let's not forget that we should finish this for the sake of humanity. And that's a big word, of course, but we should do that. And that's what we've been trying to do all along. And our DG, who is here and will address you in a moment as well, has been reminding us of that fact as well many times. And like I said, in between the hard work, we laughed a lot. We had Father Christmas here at one stage, and I'm not sure if there was any connection, but now he's working for an NGO instead of. We had Firosh doing his chicken dance now and again when we felt that we were sitting too long. We've been taking a lot of photos with laughing people on it, and that was very, very good. So regardless of where we are from a content perspective, I'm really, really happy that I did this with you. And I want to thank you all for that, and I hope that we will be seeing a lot from each other in different circumstances. So I'd like to thank the Secretariat from my perspective. I'd like to thank Precious for all the hours that we spent. I'd like to thank the other Bureau members, and I'd like to thank our DG. But before we give him the floor, I'll give you the floor, Precious, to share your thoughts with the group.
Yes, thank you, Roland, and thank you, colleagues. Today we saw a headline that WIPO made history, in that they adopted the first treaty. And I said, well, you know, what's different about it? They said it took them 25 years. And it gave me hope. Hope that if it took WIPO 25 years, surely it would probably have taken us that long. The difference between what WIPO does and what we do is that we're in the business of saving lives. We're in the business of public health. And it makes sense why it was imperative for us to do this in a shorter time and much quicker. And it is for that reason that I would like to say that I think it was one member state who said, perhaps on one of the days, just as a scenario exercise, we could have done our meeting wearing masks, just as a reminder of how it was then and the kind of decisions we're taking and how in future these decisions will impact others. And it was just a stark reminder of where we came from and how some of you put effort, energy to try and make this work. We know that every one of you tried to make this work. It is for that reason that in one of the INBs, I tried to make a poem out of a song about your family. And I meant it because I believe so. I meant it because I thought we had people with good hearts who wanted to make a difference. People who thought public health was important, not because we had any other reason to be here. I think it's been a privilege that everyone was given this opportunity to make a huge difference in people's lives. Something that none of us can take for granted. I don't think we did, and I don't think we should. And it is for that reason that when we look back, we'll probably take the words of Martin Luther King, that the ultimate measurement of man is not where he stands during times of comfort and convenience, but where he stands during times of controversies and challenges. It is during these controversies and challenges that will be measured, that we've been able to rise to the occasion, that we've been able to say, yes, we may not have finished, but there's still an opportunity, and we'll still make sure that this happens, because when the next pandemic hits, it will not spare us. We've been lucky this time. Some of us, we may not be in future. With those words, I would like to take this opportunity to thank all of you. Thank the co-facilitators who worked very hard. It was not easy for them. To thank the coordinators. I know the coordinators are never thanked because they are faceless, but they actually are an engine behind the work that we do. And they work very closely with Secretariat. I'd like to thank Secretariat. I know we always thank them, but some of you don't know the behind the scenes work they do. They really do a lot of work. But I also want to thank Bureau members. Some of you may not recall that, or you may recall actually, we had two Bureau members who joined us before, Ahmed and Katz. And if Ahmed was in this meeting today, he would have given me a signal before even Philippine read a statement. When we did something wrong or we said something, we just saw with Ahmed's hands going to the health that it was a warning, that please watch. But of course, we have officials, they come and go, but we've had Ahmed, he's made a huge contribution and I wanted to honor him today. But also thank Katz. You know, Katz spoke softly, but he made his mark. But, you know, behind every single Bureau member, there are shepherds. And we actually never take this opportunity to thank them. They always are a support system for all of us, and I wanted to acknowledge them and thank them today. We may not have said it often enough, but thank you very much for being that support, for being there for us and supporting us as a bureau. We highly appreciate it. But again, to thank the interpreters. I know some of you do not understand the effort, support, and maybe we can applaud them now that they are still here doing this work. But we also have the meeting in progress. Our IT, I know sometimes we can't log on, we can't, please unmute. They try their best. They are the support system. But we have people who always look after us. They watch whether you have a badge or not. I thought I needed to thank them as well. And also those that perhaps are not visible, but they are always there providing support. But again, thank the DG for being here. It's not often that we get a Director General who spends time with us and sit till 2 a.m. So this is not the end. Mike said to us, this is not the end. This is just the beginning. And to all of you, I'd like to thank you again. Those who've been able to be part of this process to the end, those who could not continue, and those who joined online. And finally, to our relevant stakeholders. Despite the fact that they could not be in the room during negotiations, but they were still around. In the passages, in the cafeteria, waiting, watching. Thank you for holding on and being patient with us and for participating directly and indirectly. Thank you so much. Let's give them an applause. Okay, on that note, I'll hand over to you.
Thank you, Precious. And before I give the floor to the DG, I just look around in the room because I could imagine that there were some of you who would also like to say a few words from your own experience. But if not, that's also fine, of course. Is there anybody who would like to say something at this moment? Otherwise, the floor is... Nigeria, please.
Okay, I have just been unmuted now. Thank you very much. While the co-chair was speaking, I was just, thinking of some of those online challenges that we used to have. And the fact that sometimes I would say, can you hear me? So, yeah, so really we have come a long way, and many of us, no doubt, was here at the beginning of this process. And thank God we're also here now that we have come up to this point. And I like to say that in the game of sports, it takes two people to play in the game of sports. Notwithstanding maybe whether one person wins or there is no win or whatever be the case, is sometimes taken for granted. If we say football, for instance, if one team ab initio decides not to play, one team will not play itself. So to that extent, everyone who plays in a game is a winner. So I must say that there is hope for the future. Regardless of whatever may be the decision of the Health Assembly, we are very prepared to continue work and finish what we have started, and deliver something for the global community in our generation, in our own time. I'd like to thank everyone as well, on our behalf of our delegation, to say a lot of thank you to everyone who has worked in this process. Time will, of course, fail to begin to name everyone one after the other, but I think that we've come a long way. We've done reasonably well in what we have achieved so far, and there is light at the end of the tunnel. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The UK, please.
Thank you very much, Chair. I just wanted to speak very briefly to thank the Director General and his team, the Bureau, the Secretariat, and colleagues from Member States for the massive amount of work undertaken throughout the INB process, recognising the importance of the issues we have discussed. Everyone has worked tirelessly, sometimes and often 7 days a week, and alongside work on so many other issues as well. We are so grateful to everybody. Thank you also to the civil society organisations and other non-state actors who have contributed so much throughout this process. As you've said, Chair, we have made real progress towards an agreement that will in future ensure the world is better able to prevent, prepare for and respond to pandemics. We look forward to discussions at the World Health Assembly and building on the progress we have made. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Martin or Rico?
Thank you very much, co-chairs and bureau members. I mean, this is clearly is a difficult moment for all of us, but it's not something that is uncommon in the multilateral system. And from the side of the European Union and our member states, of course, we want to stress that we remain entirely committed to bring this two processes that we have followed for so long to fruition. And when it comes to of course, to the amendments to the International Health Regulation, we very much still hope that we can bring it to fruition next week at the WHO. Of course, at this juncture, we want to wholeheartedly thank you both, co-chair, and all the bureau members for your dedication. We also wish to recognize the extraordinary work and support that the Secretariat and the Director General extended to us. And finally, we wish to thank all the good colleagues and friends for the collegiality in the process. We will continue on this path with all of you, and we trust we will be successful in the near future. Thanks.
Thank you. We have Bangladesh and then Ethiopia.
Thank you, Chair. Would like to thank co-chairs and the Bureau for the hard work, and the Director General and his team for supporting the member states throughout the entire negotiation. We had ambition to conclude the negotiation within the time, but today we are not happy as we could not deliver. But still we do have the ambition to deliver on that, and Bangladesh, being a small delegation, will remain constructive and positive towards that. While proceeding for that, we hope we will be able to see both processes are ending with successful result that will serve the humanity. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ethiopia?
Thank you very much, Co-Chair. We also wish to take this floor as the Africa Group and Egypt to really sincerely thank you, Co-Chairs, the entire Bureau, the DG and his team, the Secretariat, and all member states who made us come this far. We would like to acknowledge that. We consider the work as an ongoing progress and a positive progress. We still remain committed and steadfast in finalizing the work, and we'll give it our best for a positive outcome by the Assembly. We want to reiterate that. And of course, for the work beyond May. We also wish to reiterate that we remain steadfast in our firm commitment to operationalize equity within the pandemic agreement. Saying this, we also would like to thank other delegations, and we hope that all of us would remain constructive in our further discussions and decision that would happen in May by the Assembly next week. Thank you very much.
Thank you. United States.
Thank you, Co-Chair. I just would like to take a minute to add my thanks, express my gratitude to all of you up in the front of the room, DG, Bureau, and the Secretariat, as we've said many times before, but it's definitely worth saying again how much we appreciate your efforts, all the hard work that you have done for us as we've tried to work together towards some solutions here. And also to just express my gratitude to all the colleagues in the room. We've worked really hard together. And also our teams that aren't in the room, but just wanted to say, you know, my team and I have really appreciated all our engagement with you throughout the process these last 2+ years. I know that we're all disappointed that we don't have a dance and a champagne in the room today. But I think we should also be proud of the work that we did together. Some of it is captured on paper, and I'm glad that we have that the draft text to show for the work that we have done together. But beyond what's on paper, I think the relationships that we formed, the friendships that we formed, the fact that we've deepened and broadened our understanding of each other, of our priorities and of the challenges that we're trying to tackle together, and I think that's all very helpful and can be built upon going forward, and I'm deeply appreciative of that. The United States, like everyone else in this room, is very committed to global health security, and as challenging and frustrating as it can be, multilateral negotiations are also extremely important and can be extremely rewarding and can actually deliver solutions that nobody can achieve alone. So this is hard, but I think you know, I certainly will continue to believe in multilateral solutions, and I know everyone else in this room is deeply committed as well. So I appreciate that. So thank you again, and we look forward to you know, continuing to engage on these topics in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Syria and then China.
Thank you. Thank you, Co-Chair. Good evening, colleagues. We would like to join other delegations to express our deep gratitude to the Bureau, Co-Chairs, Vice Chairs, Secretariat members, and especially text editors for the tremendous efforts and goodwill to finalize this process in adequate and successful way. We also express our continuous commitment to reach the pandemic agreement based on principles of equity and universality, and to apply the Health for All slogan with leaving no one behind. Thank you, Co-Chair. Thank you for everyone.
Thank you. Next is China and then Norway.
Thank you, Madam Co-Chair. We appreciate that the excellent leadership of the Co-Chair and the Vice Chair and the hard work of the Secretariat over the past 2 years, as well as concerned effort of all of all our colleagues in this room to improve global health security and to strengthen pandemic prevention, preparedness, and response, and enormous amount of time, energy, and sweat we all put into negotiations. We have worked here until the last minute to fulfill our commitment. The negotiation process has been very difficult, and although it is unfortunate that no consensus we reached, the progress has been evident, and we have reached consensus on more preventions than last month. Since the start of INB consultations, China has been firmly supporting the work of the Bureau and Secretary, regardless of how the 77th World Health Assembly will decide to continue the way forward to the next steps. We will be prepared accordingly and continue to actively participate and contribute our efforts. China has high expectations for the development of our pandemic treaty to improve prevention and response to global pandemics, and is committed to doing our best to work with all member states to support the Bureau and negotiations, to demonstrate to the world our ambitions to strengthen global solidarity for the benefit of the health and of humankind, and to fulfill as soon as possible the mission entrusted to us by history to eliminate inequality and epidemics, to save tens of millions of lives, and to achieve the global of the higher level of health. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Next is Norway and then Indonesia.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you. We undertook this exercise in order to better prepare and prevent for future pandemics and make the world more equitable. We are inspired by the intense work that has been done, and we are deeply grateful for the efforts of the Bureau, the Secretariat, all of our colleagues, and for the strong support and engagement from the civil society. The scope and the timeline has always been ambitious, and this with a reason, having in mind the importance of this exercise. We acknowledge that we are not entirely there yet. We need to find a way to finalize the important provisions on the table, to strengthen prevention and One Health, the access and benefit sharing mechanism, improving the ability to respond to emergencies in humanitarian and fragile settings, and for predictable financing of PPR. We look forward to the WHO acknowledging the important progress achieved, and for all of us, the membership of WHO, to lay the path towards a sound process to safeguard the progress and build on the meaningful work we have done. We also recognize the importance of a successful outcome of our sister process in the WGIHR, and we look forward to the finalizing of the revisions. Norway remains committed to these processes, to global health and international collaboration, and the important work of WHO. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next is Indonesia and then India.
Mr. Co-Chair, we would like to thank you, members of the Bureau, the DG, and the members of the Secretariat, as well as fellow negotiator colleagues, civil society colleagues here in the room and online, for the hard work, dedication, perseverance throughout the 2 years that we have worked together. It has indeed been an eye-opening experience for all of us here in this room, who have worked hard, hand in hand, debating important and difficult subjects for global pandemic prevention, preparedness, and response in an equitable manner, including on issues related to surveillance, One Health, access and benefit sharing, tech transfer, financing, and many more. My former Deputy Permanent Representative, Ambassador Grata, once spoke in this very hall and made a reference to a popular line dance in Indonesia called the Pocho Pocho, where we take one step forward and two steps backwards and a few turns, and when the song ends, we will just be where we started. But I'm happy and proud to say that we are not dancing the Pocho Pocho in this very hall. We have made great strides despite the challenging and timeline, and we should continue until it finishes. By the way, the Indonesian mission will be presenting this dance on Sunday at the Water Talk for those who want to come and see it for yourself. Madam Co-Chair, we believe that we always need to finish what we started, and we will advocate for that in the upcoming WHA. And Indonesia will remain committed to continue working and finishing this pandemic treaty in a constructive manner. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next is India and then Tunisia.
Respected DG, WHO, sir, chairs, co-chairs, vice chairs, colleagues from WHO, esteemed members from member states, both online and offline, India thanks each one of you for this Herculean job that was done for the last 2 years, bringing the world together on the principles of equity for the pandemic preparedness, response, and recovery and prevention. So India looks forward of a very positive engagement in future also to make the world to be a better place and a better prepared for the future pandemics. We like to come out of a COVID harrowing experience and to have a better preparedness so that our mankind is safe. We again like to thank each one of you who was there in this over here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next is Tunisia and then Mexico.
شكرا السيد الرئيس المشارك. يود وفد بلادي.
Thank you very much, Chair. The delegation of my country would like to thank the co-chairs, the vice chairs, those who are currently serving, but also those who have already terminated their work. We'd also like to thank the DG and all of the members of the Secretariat and everyone who has helped us throughout our deliberations over the last 2 years, either in interpretation, translation, or hosting, or other services in the Secretariat. The delegation of my country would also like to express its great respect for the work that has been done over the last 2 years, while also underlining the fact that notable progress has been made. This progress could be summarized as follows. First of all, we know the scope of the challenges that await us, and we need to prepare ourselves in order to be able to accomplish this task, either nationally or coordinate between countries internationally. Second of all, we know now the positions of each delegation, and so that will facilitate negotiations in the future. And then lastly, we remain sure that we are all on the same side, because in future pandemics, if that were to happen, we won't have discrimination. And we cherish the hope that we'll be able to work together in a united front in order to be able to arrive at an agreement which would respond to the needs of everyone and also not have any opposition. I thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you very much. Next is Mexico and then Palestine.
Thank you, Chair. First, a big thank you for your work. I think the ones we had the opportunity to facilitate, a section of the draft feel closer to the Bureau. We worked hard. We wanted to succeed. Article 9 was close. Sometimes it can be done, and sometimes it takes more time. So like others have said, be proud of what you did. I want to thank also what I call the Shadow Bureau. Mark, Carolina, Lebo, Junsuke, Sukpuk, and Khaled. You did great. I wish you at least 6 months of good sleep and Netflix. I also want to thank the DG and our dear friend Jawad and the Secretariat team for the great work. You also need like a year to recover, so please take time. I think we're still accountable to the general public and the people who suffered during COVID-19. So we look forward to future work in the Assembly and beyond to get where we need to. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Palestine and then Australia.
شكرا سيد الرئيس المشارك وسعدتم.
Thank you very much, Co-Chair. Good evening, everyone. I would like to thank the members of the Bureau for this work. They have done difficult, complicated work. I would also like to thank the Director General for having been present there with us throughout our meetings. This, of course, motivated us to work even harder. I'd like to thank the Secretariat as well as all delegations who continued to fight to find appropriate solutions in order to be able to reach a final agreement and to be able to facilitate this very complicated, very complex process. Our meetings were useful, they were constructive, and we were able to listen to each other. We attempted to understand the points of view of other delegations and to arrive at a consensus in order to put people at the center of our concerns. Palestine is, of course, fighting on the side of all those who wish to serve humanity, have health for all. Our work is not finished. And unfortunately, humanity still needs making sure that our words get translated into action. So Palestine will continue to collaborate with each and every one of you, and we thank each and every one of you. We thank all delegations for having hosted Palestine and for having allowed us to be present in this meeting side by side with you in the drafting groups as well, and to participate in this constructive debate. I thank you very much.
Thank you. Australia is next.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Co-Chair. We can't leave without adding our own deep thanks to the Bureau, the Shadow Bureau, the DG, the hardworking Secretariat team led by Dr. Major, and everybody in this room, both physically and virtually, who've put their hearts and souls into this process. We took an extraordinary decision 2.5 years ago together in extraordinary circumstances, and we called it the world together. And we've stayed together through this whole process, despite many challenges, many ups and downs. Some colleagues have mentioned some of them. We're still together now as we submit our outcome to the Assembly, with a firm shared commitment to continue working together to finish the job. We will keep working, guided by the spirit of Geneva, and we will deliver the commitments our people need to prevent a repeat of the COVID pandemic and prepare for our response to the next pandemic when it does come. Because we know it will come, and when it does, we hope the work we've done together in this room and that we will finish together will have made the world a little bit better, a little bit fairer, and a bit safer. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Colombia.
Muchas gracias. Thank you very much, Co-Chair. Thank you to the Bureau, the Secretariat, civil society, and all my colleagues, the delegations that have been working tirelessly to have an instrument to prepare for future pandemics. We are very close, and we are committed to this process to have an architecture for health addressing health emergencies in a strengthened way. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And thank you for all the encouraging words. There's two more online. Peru, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Co-Chair, and thank you everyone for your hard effort on this whole process. We would also like to join what others delegates had said, that this process is still not over, and you can count on the commitment of Peru to continue working hard in order to get a pandemic agreement that takes into account the lessons learned from the last pandemic in order to have a better world. Thank you very much, and the work is not over. Thank you.
Kenya?
Thank you, Mr. Co-Chair. Kenya takes this opportunity to thank the co-chairs and the entire Bureau for their tireless efforts since we began the INB process 2 years ago. We also wish to thank the Director, the DG, for his commitment and dedication to the process. We also thank member states for the team spirit as we have tried to find solutions to the challenges we all face as a result of the COVID-19. Kenya remains committed to continuing this process and engaging constructively to change the status quo and ensure that global health emergency preparedness and response is strengthened. Together, we can ensure that the world is safer and fairer and better prepared to face the future health outbreaks and pandemics. We wish all our colleagues a successful WHA and look forward to a discussion on how to take forward this work, which we are proud to have been part of. Thank you, Co-Chair.
Thank you very much. Looking around once more, but I think it's the moment to give our DG the chance for the last words of today, actually. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Roland. Thank you, Precious. I think you have said it all, starting from Roland and Precious, I think, what has to be said. But I will add a few words. First of all, you have given it your best. Even if the outcome is not what you want, I think normally if you... So, since you have given it your best, there should not be any regrets. Because you have tried your best. So, what matters now is, what do we learn from this? And how can we reset things, recalibrate things, identify the main challenges, and then move on? That's what matters, to be honest. You should actually be proud of yourself. I remember all the late nights and all the hard work. When you meet, when it's a week, of course you say you have met for a week, but if you count all the nights, it's actually long. And I fully agree with you. I remember a couple of weeks ago, some of you raised mental health issues and so on, because the way you were working was not really healthy, and still not really. And that shows commitment. So that's why I said you have given it your best. If you didn't have commitment, you wouldn't stay until 2 a.m. If you didn't have commitment, you will not really stay in this one room for hours and hours. So that's really very important. We have given it your best. And as I said, the issue now is, okay, we are where we are. We have traveled a lot. We have progressed a lot, but where are the bottlenecks? And how can we recalibrate and move? I think that's very important. As you know, when we started, the reason you have decided to have a pandemic agreement was because of the impact of the COVID-19. We say on the record more than 7 million people died, but actually that's underreporting. The estimates show that up to 20 million people died. and the whole world was taken hostage. And COVID has affected everybody. Everybody. I don't know if there was anyone who has not been affected by COVID in many ways. Not only losing loved ones, but economic problems, loss of jobs, you name it. So that's why you said, okay, this impact is because the world is unprepared. By the way, still is. And you said we have to do something. So the second message I have is we have to always remind ourselves that. Because we are human beings, when the pain is really less, we tend to forget and move on. But of course we should move on. But we should also remember the problem that happened and not really rest until the solution comes. So reminding ourselves of all the losses we had and to say never again is very important. So when we look for the challenges we have faced and finding solutions, I think that reminder will help. Then I see the Assembly actually as a platform to re-energize this process, to be honest. And let's use it as a platform to give us more energy, inspire us, and use us to the best possible. So it really propels this process forward and helps us to reach the finish line that we all want. So when we go to the Assembly, to be honest, let's take it as really good opportunity to re-energize, to recalibrate, to be even inspired, and to have even more commitment and prepare us to address the problems and get where we would like to be. And actually, it should be a platform to, when I say re-energize, to help us to do everything after that. My granddaughter likes a song called Try Everything. I don't know if some of you know who sings that song. Martin knows, I think.
Yes, for sure. My girls love it as well. Shakira.
Exactly. Shakira, exactly. So my granddaughter, Mia, if she likes just one song, is that maybe you have seen her also. She can move, she can dance. So I think the rule of the game should be, let's continue to try everything. And then there is maybe, I saw her with a t-shirt then recently, and which says, anything is possible. I think if we try everything, anything is possible. This comes, by the way, from the same granddaughter, Mia. So my wish is we will come out of the Assembly re-energized, inspired. We will try everything, believing that anything is possible, and make this happen. Because the world still needs a pandemic treaty, and the world needs to be prepared, because many of the challenges that caused the serious impact during COVID-19 still exist. Starting from equity, for instance, was the center of this negotiation. So, still exist. And we should really prepare the world. So, let's continue to try everything, and anything is possible. And as we always say, if there is a will, there is a way. So I'm still positive, to be honest, despite the outcome. That's what I am. That's what I believe. There could be hiccups. The issue is, what do we learn from it and move? This is not a failure. Even when I fail, by the way, many times, I try to learn what happened and then move on. Failure doesn't stop us, should not stop us. But this is not failure. You have really done a lot. You have progressed a lot. I don't call it failure. And then last, Precious thanked everybody. So I should thank Precious. I should thank Roland. I should thank Tovar. I should thank Ramadan, Kozo, Viroj, all the bureau members. I've had really good, times with them, and shared with them when they have all the difficulties, because everything was rested on them, and I could see all the pressure. I thank you for your leadership, and much gratitude. And then to my colleagues, starting from Jawad, especially the Secretariat, to Anne, I don't know, Anne, where are you? Ola, Paida, Kenneth, Steve, Bruno, and of course, many behind them, by the way, and some of them came here to explain also. Maria, Ana Maria, many colleagues, and I will not forget my Deputy Director General, Mike. I call him Ragnar, by the way, that's his second name. For those of you who don't know, his name is Ragnar. He's a good soldier, that's why. And thank you so much for all your hard work. I always say I have a strong team. I'm lucky. And these colleagues I named and others actually make me look good all the time, because they work really hard. And that's the bosses take all the credit. So thank you so much to my colleagues as well. So I hope, as I think many of you said, this really should give us more energy, and we should really work together. And the tagline of this actually is, Madeline was reminding us, it's about togetherness, because we are one humanity, and preparing everything to fight any pathogen. We're all on one side, and I hope we will make it as soon as possible. So thank you so much again. Please take some rest, although it's very difficult to say rest, because the assembly is going to make you busy. When I say take rest, is hopefully immediately after the assembly, and come with more energy, and inshallah, we will conclude this. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, DG. And I think I speak for Precious and the rest of the Bureau as well, that we truly hope that the World Health Assembly next week, when they consider the outcome of our work, which we will present to them, will take the right decisions to take this process forward, and that in one way or the other, in the years to come, we will be celebrating a result, and that we will have a pandemic agreement because we need it. Many of you have reflected on that. And with that, Precious, I would ask you for one last time to bang that hammer of yours.
Can I before that, I'm really sorry. Apologies to our interpreters. I hope you will forgive me. Thank you also.
We already did it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, I will miss this because I enjoyed doing it. But I must say that DG, when I was the chair of the executive board, I was given this as a gift. So when I miss INB, I'll just take that one and just sit it. Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you so much.